Hello, y'all. Hope everybody is doing good out there. And thanks to tuning in to my channel. I have a comment. They want to hear about the YouTube bullies. Well, I really don't like calling people out because I would be bullied. That would be me bullying too. So my advice to everybody: if you run into one of these bullies, block them. Don't go back to their channel, because when you go on there to view, you're giving them views, and it's encouraging them to do. They think they're doing the right thing, and they got everybody's attention, and they'll continue to do it. So just stay away from that. Go find you a funny video or something. Laugh. But I have been thinking about the bullying, and I'm gonna tell you about one of my first memories. And I was being bullied by two sisters. Now, mind you, this was like 1973, 74. I was 3 or 4 years old. And we lived in the projects. And I had a baby sister on the way. My mama was pregnant with my sister. And I didn't have nobody to play with. I was a lonely little child. Well, right behind our house was a creek. And there was a big old tree down there. And I would go down there, and I had a plastic bouncy ball, and I would throw that ball up in the tree and get it stuck, and then I'd throw rocks and sticks, and then other kids would see me doing it, and then they would come and start helping me, trying to get the ball out. So I learned how to get me some little buddies down there to play. And I loved it. Like, every time I got let out of that house, I went straight to that creek and that tree with my bounce ball. Until the day the sisters moved in, directly across the front of us. One of them was around 7. The other one was probably, a year older than me. They were bigger than me. And when I remember the day they moved in, I was thinking, oh, thank you. There's 2 kids my age. And I was so happy, just tickled. I could not wait till they got to go out and play, and I got to play with them. And I remember laying in my bed, and I would be thinking about, oh, I can't wait. I got me some friends, because the other kids that would come and play with me were older. And I was just tickled to death that there was 2 girls that moved in across from me. Well, the very first day that they come to the creek to play, they beat me up. And they both got on me at the same time. Sent me home squalling. Well, a couple times later it happened. And finally my daddy was hot with tears. I'm going to tell you right now, if I ever catch you letting somebody bully you, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. And he said, and it goes the other way too, if I ever catch you bullying somebody, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. So, I'll start that whine, but there's 2 of them, and they're bigger than me. And he said, well, then you pick you some up and knock their brains out. That's exactly what he said. Well, instead of going back to the creek, I didn't go for a minute, because I didn't want them jumping on me, and I didn't want to hurt them. I wanted to play with them, be their friend. Oh, and they'd stole every toy that they'd be like, can I see your toy? The next time I come here, I'll bring a toy and let you see mine. And they'd take my toy and we'd give it back. So I stayed to myself, played on my porch, and I would have to sit and look down there at that creek at everybody down there playing. Everybody in the creek. The boys would be catching crawdads, and the girls would just be doing whatever. And I was like, gosh, I should be able to go down there and play. Well, after a little while, I couldn't handle it no more. But what I would do, I would try to go down there when nobody else was there, and play by myself, because if they seen other people down there, or even if they see me, they would come to jump on me. And so I finally got my, started figuring things out, how to go around things. Well, I was down there one day playing, and boy, they snuck up on me. Caught me off guard. And I mean, they didn't give me, if I was by myself, they didn't do it when the other kids was around. It was when I was by myself. So they wouldn't, as soon as they would walk up to me, they would start beating the shit out of me. So, that's what they did that day. So instead of taking off running towards my house, I went down the creek. And then what my daddy said, because I was like, I'm not getting no whooping from him. So I found me a rock that would fit good in my hand. And I walked up. Well, they was in the creek and was, bent down, caught them off guard. And I hit the oldest one in the side of the head with the rock. And she fell down in the creek. And her sister started screaming. She was screaming. And I looked and there was blood. I broke the skin. So I take off running. And I go in the house and I was like, Mama, I hit that girl. They jumped on me. They jumped on me again, Mama. And I did what Daddy said, and I picked up a rock and I hit him in the head. Mama said, well, good. Well, Mama said, it's y'all. I said, she's bleeding, Mama. So my mama goes on the porch and she watches them. They're walking up through there. The little girl's walking. She's just holding her head, crying. And then when she sees my mama, she starts wailing. Wah! I guess trying to get me in trouble. Mama says, she's all right. She's all right. So we go back in the house. And, my daddy was like, well, do you feel better that you took up for yourself? I said, yeah, but what am I going to do? They're really going to get me now. When I go down there, and he said, like I said, you better take up for yourself. I was like, all right. He said, but I don't think you don't have much to worry about if you took up for yourself. And I was like, whatever, okay. Well, a little while goes by, and the little girls was hardly ever back at the creek. And so I come out on my porch one day to play, and their daddy was sitting on the porch, directly across from me. And he hollers, hey, little girl. Hey, little girl. I woke up. He's like, do you want some candy? And I'm like, He said, come here. Come down, come over here. I'll give you some candy. Well, I looked. My mama must have been watching the soap operas because she wasn't at the door. And I was like, all right. I waited a few seconds and made sure she wasn't going to come to the door to check on me. So I booked it down there. And he was like, and I was standing on the porch, and he was like, no, come on in. Come on in here. It's in here in the kitchen. Come in here. I know I wasn't supposed to. I know my daddy told me you don't go in these people's house around here. But I thought, he's at work. My mama ain't watching. I can run in here and get me a couple pieces of candy, and they'll never know. Well, when I went in the house, I walked to the entrance of their kitchen, and he's reaching up on the refrigerator, and I'm thinking, that's where the candy's at. He brings out this big old switch. And I mean, as soon as I seen that switch come up, and he was a big old man, like big old heavy set man, so he couldn't catch me. I was gone. I hit that door wide open and ran to my mama. And I told on him what he did. So my mama said, you know better to go in that house. You wait, I'm going to let your daddy deal with you. And I'm thinking, oh, I dread this. I dread this for him coming home because I just know that's going to get beat. I just know I'm going to get my ass beat. So, when Daddy comes home, my mama didn't tell him. I thought, I hope she forgot it. We eat supper. And then after we eat supper, we would sit and watch the news. And I think like MASH or something like that. I really don't know what it was back then. And I'm thinking, I got this week. Mama ain't gonna tell on me. She ain't gonna tell on me for being in that house. So then out of the blue, she was like, I gotta tell you something, and you gotta promise me that you will keep you cool. And he was like, I ain't promising you, it depends on what it is. I ain't promising you a damn thing. Now, what is it? What do you got to tell me? And she was like, well, that man conned Julie down there telling him he was going to give her some candy. And got a switch off the top of the refrigerator and was going to whoop her with a switch. I was like, oh, Lord, he jumps up, and my mama's hanging on to him, and she's pregnant with my sister, and she's hanging on to him, and he's just walking like she was like a gnat on him or something. And he had that stare, that just blank stare that he gets on his face. And I'm thinking, oh my Lord, she told on me and he's going in there to get the belt and wear me out. So I start bawling. He comes out, he has a gun, and he goes straight to that man's house. Walks in like he pays his bills. My mama's standing out there on the porch, about middle ways of the yard, between their yard and our yard, screaming, please, no. He went right on anyway. Well, he comes back, and he told me, after all was said and done, he said, I heard to beat you half to death. You know better to be going in people's house. And I was, I just knew he was going to get me anyway, but he didn't. But he said, but when he got back, he said, you ain't going to have to worry about him no more. Because he'll be gone he'll be gone from down there in a couple of days. Well, sure enough, they loaded up everything. They had the top of their station wagon full, the top of it, the back of it, and they loaded their girls up, and they rolled out. And right after that, after my sister was born, my mom and dad bought the house that they still have, and we moved. Well, we was at Food City one day, and one of my mama's friends that used to live down there too at that time told Mama that on the way back to where they lived on the interstate, they had a wreck, and it killed a 7-year-old girl. Well, then later on, my mama didn't tell me this until I was like probably about 16-year-old. And she told me that that man, the daddy that tried to whoop me with that switch, was in prison, and I'm pretty sure he ended up dying in prison because the girl that was around my size finally told what he had been abusing her, and she had him locked up. And it made me feel really, really bad, and it also scared me because I don't know, that man could have got me in there and done anything to me, but I got away. And I also felt bad that I hit her in the head with a rock and I felt like for a long time it was my fault. I shouldn't have done that. And she was probably bullying me because of the situation that she was at home. So, regardless of what is going on, you never know. I mean, there's a reason for that bullying. And I would say the most of them is because of what they've had to deal with. Maybe at home or by a relative, because, it happens all the time. We got some cruel, mean people in this world. But that's the story about one of my first memories and my bullying. I really don't know what else to say. I mean, I still get sad about this situation. Because I do have heart. But I don't let nobody bully me. I never have. And I take up for the underdog. I always have. But thank you for listening. Have a good night. and have a better tomorrow. Until the next time. Bye.